What is wasted potential? Well, wasted potential is best described as something that hasn't been developed fully, essentially cut short. Think of it like Derrick Rose, that injury took us away from his prime. Ben Simmons, he was viewed as someone who was going to change the league or any star player on the Pistons right now. My main point being, wasted potential is something that was never fully explored or grasped. So, let's see how this relates to Adam Taurus. The first time we see Adam is in the Black trailer. The main consensus is Adam looks cool and he's edgy. The only story we get is Adam is willing to kill a bunch of humans. We don't know why, but we find out later on. The end of the Black trailer, Blake runs away. We later see Adam in Volume 3, Episode 7. He is threatened by Cinder to help, and he has to join her. My main feelings with this scene is that Adam still looks tough, he still is cool, and he still has power, just not enough to take fucking Cinder down, because she's the big bad at this point. Next, we see Adam in Volume 2, Episode 12. The main villains are wondering if the White Fang will actually listen, and Adam interrupts by saying, hey, they are only going to listen to him, furthering his power of position. Moving through episodes in Volume 3, Episode 9 shows Adam leading the White Fang. Episode 10 is where Adam meets Blake and she becomes scared. From all we know at this point, he's either her mentor and probably potential ex-partner. Episode 11 happens and this is where things get intense. These are the big moments, so to speak. Adam calls Blake a coward while also telling her that he wants to start a revolution. He states that he wants to make her suffer due to her betrayal and then stabs her. Yang notices and he counters by chopping her arm off. Blake then escapes with Yang and Adam is left alone with a victory under his belt. So let's pause for a moment and look at the film. Let's go through everything we know thus far. What we have learned about Adam so far. He hates humans for some unknown reason. He seems to be the leader of the White Fang. He is extremely powerful but is only working under Cinder to ensure his people's survival, and he wants Blake to suffer for betraying the White Fang. So, with this information, going into Volume 4, you would expect a backstory, you would expect a flashback, you would expect him to continue to make humans suffer. So, let's see what happens after Volume 3. Volume 4, Episode 1, Hazel wants to meet Adam. Volume 4, Episode 3, Yang has PTSD of Adam. Volume 5, Episode 2, also, yeah, that's all we had of Adam in Volume 4. No backstory, just plotting on Haven. Anyways, Volume 5, Episode 2, Adam kills Sienna and becomes the leader of the White Fang. Next, we have Volume 6, Adam's character short. From the first scene, this shit just looks like Adam aspiring a group of faunus. It seems like he's fanning the flames of revolution. This doesn't come off as a part of his backstory. Second scene comes off as his hatred for being mistreated, verbally abused by humans, so to speak. He manages to kill one, probably not by accident. Then once he overhears humans making more racial remarks, he gets angrier. Gira scolds him, Sienna praises him, then the White Fang praise him. This is probably what shaped his beliefs that violence is the answer, getting such a applause from it. Next scene is with Blake. The next scene is him fighting and showing his intent to kill humans. And focusing on the last scene, we see him take off his mask, similar to one of my favorite Halo scenes. However, we are dissecting this without the knowledge we have now, so taking this like we are actually just watching a show as it comes out, let's continue. Volume 5, Episode 13. Adam attempts to blow up Haven, but realizes Ilya disabled the bombs. He pulls a light Yagami, telling the White Fang to kill them, and he realizes, hey yo, White Fang got caught. We're kind of fucked here. Episode 14 happens and he gets to squabble before hitting the jets. Later, he watches the villains get packed up and he continues running. Ilya makes the statement that no one ever will trust Adam after running away, leading us into Volume 6, Episode 10. Adam has disabled the radar and is trying to get Blake to be alone. Volume 6, Episode 11. This is the big fight. This is where Adam takes off his mask and we finally see his face. His face is branded with a Schnee Dust Company mark, showing that he got branded during a part of his life. As the fight continues, we lead into episode 12, and this is where Adam dies. Now, with this clear image, we could start to piece up Adam's life. Adam was branded with a Schnee Dust Company mark. That trauma and mistreatment led to him despising humans. While working for the White Fang, he attempted to lead the Faunus in a better direction. Throughout the years, his mindset changed and he wanted a revolution. He wanted Faunus to be the more dominant race over humans. Assuming the success of Fall of Beacon, he probably wanted to do the same with Haven to spread fear about Faunus. Once his plan failed, he ran away and his anger turned into rage towards Blake. That rage and obsession ended up leading to his own death. With a pretty clear story like that, you would sit here and think Adam isn't wasted potential. And I have to admit, when I look at all of these things at face value, no context, I agree. But context is important. So, let's go down the storyline with context. Adam is a character that is tragic due to oppression, but we only see him get oppressed in his character trailer. Throughout the entire series, we have never seen Adam get oppressed. We've seen Faunus get oppressed, but not Adam. And if anyone is asking why I'm being so picky, it's because not many people watch that character short. YouTube has 401k viewers. Comparing it to something like the Volume 7 opening, that has 2.9 million views. And if anyone wants to argue that that's a song, people are going to replay it to hear the song, people want to go check out the visuals, analyze it, whatever. Okay, cool. Let's compare it to the Volume 7 trailer. This has 1.3 million views. Now, this isn't all of the RWBY fandom. It would be dumb to say 1.3 million is the entire RWBY fandom. It's not. But it's to say that not even half of the people who watched the Volume 7 trailer watched the Adam short. And that's bad, because if you compare the entire RWBY community, which I don't know how big that number is, that number could be fucking, let's just draw the random number and say RWBY has fans of 10 million people. Not even half of that will have probably watched a fucking Adam trailer. And that's bad. Most people, that just means most people don't care to watch it. It would be much more meaningful to put his backstory, you know, instead of in a character short. Or if you are going to put in a character short, at least put it in the series as well. But it would be more meaningful to put his character short into a fucking episode. Speaking for myself, I stopped watching the trailers after Monty's death. Why? Well, I watched the trailers for the well thought out fighting. The new trailers felt like they missed something. They lacked something that I clearly just enjoyed with the Monty trailers. Even I had no clue about this. And that sucks to say, because like I'm somewhat of a RWBY like super fan. Like I love the show. I obsess about the show, whatever. So if I'm a super fan and I won't even watch it, imagine how a regular fan feels. So we never got to see him oppressed, but we also never got to see how he got his mark. Now the claim from many RWBY fans is, it should be easy to piece it together, that's your fault for being stupid. But here's the thing, I shouldn't have to piece together a story or make my own story to know the character. If I go to a restaurant and they give me a piece of steak and I tell them the steak has no seasoning and they tell me, maybe you should just enjoy the food. No, maybe you should know how to season your fucking food. I shouldn't have to piece together a story as a writer. It's supposed to be clear and shown. We aren't shown Adam's involvement with the Schnee Dust Company. We're only shown a mark and left to assume. When did Adam get that mark? And when did Adam meet the Schnee Dust Company? Does Adam know of Jocks? Did Adam know Weiss? Was Adam a worker for the Schnee Dust Company? Did Adam get marked for no reason? These are important questions that are never answered. Adam is a waste of potential because his trauma isn't explored much. Adam is a product of his environment. He suffered oppression and became the oppressor. But there is no good news about Faunus after his death. Blake didn't look back and question if she was wrong. Blake didn't understand that he was a product of his environment and promised to never let that happen for any other Faunus out there. Adam dies and it's practically just swept under the rug. Adam's death could be viewed as an eye-opener for Faunus, and also humans when you think about it. It could be viewed as an eye-opener for the entire world. But we are never shown this. Adam dies and that's it. His involvement with the Faunus is cut short also. After his betrayal, we never see how he truly felt about the Faunus, the racial oppression Faunus faced over the years. And that oppression also just magically fades away and disappears or is glossed over just after his death. Adam is also, as a character, a powerful leader, but we see him divulge into someone who's only obsessed about his ex. This is also why people hate Adam or think he's wasted potential. Adam is talked up to be a powerful and master manipulator, but when his power was taken away and his manipulation didn't work, he turned into an obsessed boyfriend, not even someone who would stand on his morals of fondness suppression. Adam looks pitiful, and it's fine if a character looks pitiful and abandons morals. Light Yagami did it. The difference is the time and care put into those moments. We go through Adam's character so fast with so little moments that it feels rushed. It feels like you changed his character. It feels like you made him do a 180. That's why people don't like Adam. He feels rushed. He feels like he needed more scenes to be complete. If we were given more flashbacks of Adam, it would be fine. Even his final fight feels weird. Adam is the big, powerful guy that managed to one-tap Yang. He's the person that has traumatized the both of them. Adam, although outnumbered, has the advantage in this fight. And I'm fine with him losing by not knowing how to fight without his sword. That's fine, I like it. But it felt too fast and it didn't feel earned. Not by Yang, not by Blake. Watching my previous videos about Yang's PTSD, she only had like 5 moments about Adam, and that was it throughout the entire 3 volumes of her trauma, or like 2 because I can't count. Now we have Adam, who only shows up for 2 scenes, and you know, the volume about his death, right, barely shows up. It didn't feel like Yang got over her PTSD. It felt like it was fast, and it didn't feel like Blake got over her PTSD either. It felt like Adam had all the tools to win this fight. I'm fine with teamwork killing him and being better, and this isn't a video saying something like Adam should have won. It's a video saying that it should have felt earned. Adam feels like he had everything. Cool design, cool fighting style, cool semblance, cool motive, and a cool backstory. It just felt like it fell short. It felt like they fast forward all of his scenes, and I'm gonna compare it to Shigaraki. We at least care for him because of his tragic backstory. We see how bad the heroes are, and we see how badly he's treated. We see how much his quirk affected his life and his family and that trauma. We literally see his family die, like, because of him, and so much other bull. Like, we see it, and it's heartbreaking. And that's what makes Shigaraki a good character, not just a cool character, because Shigaraki was just cool. Why do you like Shigaraki? He's cool, he destroys things, he sounds cool, whatever. But now he's a good character because he actually has a backstory, and you can feel empathy and sympathy for him. You can understand why he's a villain. He's not just, I hate the hero world, burn, right? He's, the hero world fucked me up emotionally, and the only person I had to turn to was somebody evil, and they helped me much more than a fucking hero ever did. It's beautiful, but it's depressing. Relating it to Twice from My Hero Academia as well, he doesn't know himself. That's been his big thing. Every time he makes a clone of himself, he doesn't know if he's the real one. That thought is why he has split personality. But we aren't just told that, we're shown that. He's in a room and all of his clones are fighting and killing each other, and he's just watching it. And this is something that practically probably happened on the daily. And being put in a position, if you had the ability to make clones of yourself, and your clones are now yelling and telling, you know, you, I'm the real one, I'm the real one, and now you're like starting to doubt yourself, like, yo, hold on, is these motherfuckers the real one? So they start fighting, and now you're seeing yourself kill yourself. It's tragic. Like, you're watching yourself die over and over, and the only dying screams you hear is probably from, I'm the real one. Like, it's depressing. It's extremely depressing, and you feel bad for Twice. With Adam, we aren't shown it, we're told it, and that's the issue. RWBY has an issue where they tell you a lot of things. They tell you, hey man, Adam is a tragic character because he got oppressed, but we barely see his oppression. Adam has a mark about the Schnee Dust Company, but we don't see how he gets it. Adam fell from descent. We never even seen Adam be nice. And that's the thing. Mostly everybody is born good, but with Adam we aren't. We aren't shown these things. And people are like, oh, but his mask, but he taught, but he yeah. There's a difference between showing a mark on your face, especially at the end of your death, right? Like when we're closing out your character to wrap it up. It's a difference showing a mark on your face or just saying, I'm gonna start a revolution, versus seeing why you want to start a revolution. Why the fuck did Sasuke want to start a revolution at the end of Naruto? Well, because the 5 Kage, what they did to his brother, how they treated his brother, how he seen his brother live his life. He went from hating his brother to being like, my brother's the best brother ever. He's the best person in the world. Why did he want to start that revolution? Well, we seen why. So many people argue with about Adam, and I know I'm rambling now, but so many people argue about Adam's a good character because we know his story. Just because you know the story doesn't make him a good character. To be a good character, it has to be shown, it has to be thought out, it has to be put in your face. Anyways, let's move on before I continue rambling. Now, I know everyone is expecting some miraculous rewrite where Adam should have won. No. Adam should have died where he died, but they should have at least built him up and executed him better. So, some key things I probably would have done for his backstory at least. I would show Adam as a peaceful and kind-hearted Faunus. He fights for equality, and as he grows older, he starts to realize the harsh reality of the world around him. He stays in the White Fang, hoping for change because this is during the time the White Fang was peaceful, and eventually he goes on a trip to Atlas to confront the Schnee Dust Company. Somewhere around those lines, he meets Jocks, and he schedules a meeting with him. The meeting, intended to go peaceful, goes south, and John plays dirty. His security fight Adam and eventually outnumber Adam, rendering Adam completely useless. And this is how he gets his mark. He tries to be peaceful with Jocks, one of the most powerful politicians in the world, who is also pretty racist. He tries to convince him, yo, care for Faunus, and it goes south, and Jocks ain't trying to hear all that, and he has him apprehended. Adam gets his mark, and he manages to escape, and he heads back to the White Fang. Now Adam's personality is changing. Now he's more spiteful. Now he's more evil. Now he's more sadistic. You know, it works well because now we have something to gauge off of. He was kind until he got fucked with. You know, he already didn't like the oppression he was starting to realize the world had, but he was willing to take it on the chin and hit a Martin Luther King, you know, let's just smile and keep it going. But it's like, you burned my face, now it's like, okay, fuck you, right? I'm not gonna sit here and be peaceful. And he goes back to the White Fang. He tries to maintain that kindness for Blake, and he goes on more missions and he kills more humans. This fits perfectly, slot in with the story RWBY has gave us. And before anybody says, oh, but Adam is a Schnee Dust Company worker, that was never stated. That was never stated in the series. It is implied, but it is never stated. During the volume 6, it never said he was a worker. He just came in and said, yo, this is a revolution. Why are you wearing a mask? Because they like, that's all it says. Never said he was a labor worker. You just assume that. That's it. For all we know, he could be a regular normal guy that got marked one day. You never know. And I'm just saying, what I've just detailed now wasn't a good story. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't the greatest story ever, and that's because it's not supposed to be. And that's also because I'm not going to expose my actual like full writing. I'm just going to give you something quick and fast. But when it comes to all of these things, if you show it in a simple story that could have probably been 6 minutes, would have been way more enjoyable. Showing him as a kid, showing him realize the horrors of the world, showing him actually deal with oppression multiple times throughout his life or hearing about it, and then seeing him try to talk to Jocks, try to interact with the Schnees in some sort of way, and then being apprehended and then being marked, and then managing to run away with his life, or maybe not being a worker, going back to the White Fang, showing what the humans have did, being more angry, putting on that facade to make Blake happy, but then once he goes on missions, it's like, fuck humans. Showing all of that in an episode, in some scenes that could be dedicated to 6 minutes, and I know you could do it because you did it for the fucking character short, so just put it in an episode. Doing that in an actual episode makes Adam go from a mediocre character to like, oh shit, we're actually getting something. And that's the thing, just because we know his story doesn't mean it's a good story, because it isn't shown too much. We know what Adam goes through. If we piece it together, we know what Adam goes through, but we shouldn't have to piece it together. We should be shown it. But yeah, we only ever see Adam's scarred face, and we are left to assume what happens. My story is shown. Theirs is inferred. You have to pick up those pieces, and that's bad. In my opinion, I think Adam is a very complex character. I think he needed more time and more scenes. I think showing his rise to power, showing how he got his mark, showing his care for the Faunus, and showing his descent makes him a good character. Not only because we see it, but because we feel empathy. We may feel sympathy. We may relate to the feeling of being oppressed. You never know, but it's better to be shown something than be told something. And before I move on, there's a lot of people that are like, you should never relate to Adam, Taurus. If you do, you're a weirdo. You probably need to be self-evaluated. I think that's the most dumbest shit you could ever say. A lot of people relate to Light Yagami. Why do people relate to Light Yagami? Well, because his motive is kill all criminals so the world could be perfect and we purge every rotten person in the world. A lot of people agree with that. And then there's a lot of people that are like, no, we need that balance. We need that good and evil. And even then, Light was taking it a step further by killing people who probably were innocent regardless, right? It's just they were accused, but you never know if they were actually you never know if they were actually a bad person. We like Light. Why do we like Light? Well, we see his fall into descent. That's why many people cried for him, or that's why many people felt bad for him during the end of Death Note. It's because we see him. We see the fall. We see this good, smart kid go from top of the class, one of the best detectives ever, to being the worst piece of shit ever. But it makes Light Yagami good. It makes him a good character. And that's the best thing ever. It's good to feel relatable to a villain. You don't have to relate to everything he does. You don't have to relate to the feeling of killing somebody. I think that's stupid. But you could relate to the come-ups of that character. Like Pain. Why is Pain a villain? Why do people love Pain's speech so much? Well, it's because that shit realistic. And you feel for it. And you can relate it to any fucking circumstance in your life or anybody else's. You know, why do people like Itachi? Because some of the shit he said was real. Why do people like that Zabuza scene so much? Because it feels real. All you did was treat him like a fucking toy. Just another tool to dispose. It's like, damn, okay, I relate to that. I feel that in some sort of way. Maybe you were used like a tool and disposed of. Maybe not for war, but maybe for a friendship, maybe for some money, maybe for some whatever. But being relatable as a villain isn't a bad thing. Many people treat being a relatable villain is a bad thing. It's not. Anyways, is Adam wasted potential? Yeah, I think his involvement with the White Fang could have been done more. I think probably after his death, they should have looked at Adam and used him as an example of, maybe we should be equal. Maybe we shouldn't have like another Adam Taurus come up and rise to power. You know, maybe we should, treat Faunus with a hint of respect. You know, so we won't have another fucking murderer on our case. Maybe just showing Faunus like, yo, he had his reasonings for being bad. Maybe, I don't agree with him, but he had his reasonings for being bad. Making Adam relatable, like I said. I think we could have just seen more. And sadly, I think, I don't want to say this, but like, you could even say it was pushed on and forced by the writers to add Bumbleby. Like, because his story feels so rushed that a logical conclusion would come. They just did it for Bumbleby. Motherfuckers are gonna come at me. He brings up Bumbleby in every video when it doesn't relate to them. Like, no, shut up. But yeah, this video turned out shorter than expected, which is a lie because I rambled through a lot of this. So the video is actually 31 minutes instead of like, the video is probably gonna be like at most 15, but my rambling made this shit 32 right now. So yeah, I'm gonna try to shorten down a lot of it though. But yeah, this video turned out shorter than expected. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in the next video, and yeah, peace.